Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David, and today I am joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Liz, Quam, and my sister from another Mr., Audrey. And look at the stars, look how they shine for you in everything you do, and they were all yellow. How's everyone doing today?
Good. I love that we're all matching and didn't even really coordinate it at all.
We 100% did not coordinate this yellow look today.
Not at all. Nope. All in the same wavelength.
But I love it.
Well, apparently it's like the color of the fall, so who would have known? We all each brought our own little touch to it. I'm still wearing a Ninja Turtles t-shirt, and it's still yellow, so look at that. Fascinating. Great start to the show. Yes. Here we go.
Here we go. Right into it.
We've got another big show for you today, including an appearance by the star of Starz' new series, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Mekai Curtis. So stay tuned for that, and let's get this party started with In the News. An absolute shocker today from the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. United States gymnastics star Simone Biles withdrew from the women's team final early this morning after awkwardly landing a vault during the highly anticipated event. USA Gymnastics released a statement saying she withdrew due to medical issue, adding that she will be assessed daily to determine medical clearance for the future competitions. Simone later clarified that she was not physically injured, saying, quote, "I just felt like it would be a little bit better to take a back seat and work on my mindfulness." She also said she was unsure if she would continue to compete in Tokyo, adding, "We're going to take it a day at a time." So for thoughts on this stunning turn of events, I'll turn to Audrey first, who I know has been keeping up with the games in Japan. Audrey, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually watched women's gymnastics live this morning. So I saw the vault that she did falter on, and it was extremely shocking. That is like usually her strongest, really part of the whole competition. And I just kept thinking how hard it must have been for her to make that decision. She's dedicated obviously her whole life to this, and for her to step away for her own like mental health, and obviously nobody knows exactly what she's dealing with, takes a whole heck of a lot. So, I mean, bravo for her for knowing herself and what she needs as a person. There's so much pressure put on these athletes, especially her. Like that's all anyone's talked about is the face of the Olympics for the US is Simone Biles. So I can't even imagine. But I say bravo for you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz, have you been watching?
100. Absolutely. I didn't get to watch it this morning live, but I did notice on her floor routine that she was a little off too the other night. And so it just made sense, right? That it seemed to carry over, that at some point she was just like, I can't do this. And she even said, I was scared, although I'm not injured, I was scared I was going to make a mistake that I would eventually get injured. And so stopping early was just the right call for her. And I'm so proud of her, just trusting her gut to know that that it wasn't necessarily her time to compete, but that she was there to support the other women there and get the silver, which was awesome.
Yeah, and there's been so much focus recently on mental health in sports and the importance of that and the importance of not pushing yourself to do too much. I mean, we see this especially from kids at a really young age who want to compete at a high level, but I think you can do both. You can compete at a high level and also take care of your mental health. And I hope that Simone doing this, assuming that is what's going on with her, hopefully it sets an example for other kids and parents of kids, and they take care of themselves first, and sports second.
David, I could not agree more. It's just with, a sport just like, gymnastics, it is so dangerous. If you're not, fully engaged, you're not fully in it, it's probably best if you just step away. And it's not easy, as everyone said, it's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of courage, and you're swallowing a lot of pride to be able to do what she did. And also Naomi Osaka, she did it as well within tennis. I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, and not let the weight of the world really dictate what you do. So kudos to them. And
yeah,
for sure.
Anyone else watching the Olympics, or any highlights for you so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, you can go ahead, Audrey.
Well, I think we have the same one. We kind of talked about synchronized diving. I watched last night, and just insane to me how so Great Britain with Tom Daley and Maddie Lee, who won gold last night in their event. You couldn't even tell where one was and the other one was when they were standing next to each other. They were so in sync, and that just blows my mind. I don't know how anyone does that, but it was just so impressive to watch that. So synchronized diving I've watched. Skateboarding I've watched, since that's a new sport to the Olympics, and I was very curious about what that was going to be like. I really like their outfits. That's my favorite part of skateboarding. I think they're very cool. And everyone looks very much like a skateboarder. So I like that they're doing their own thing. I watch surfing, gymnastics, like we said, basketball. So I watched a lot of Olympics, guys, a lot. But yeah, go ahead, Liz. What were you going to say?
Yeah. So my girls here have been all scheduled out, and they know exactly what they want to watch using the preferences, which was awesome this year, by the way, on X1. And so the girls love watching volleyball. So both men's and women's volleyball. I have a couple of volleyball players here, both the beach and the indoor volleyball. Anything in the water we're watching. Love all of the swimming and the relay, which was awesome. And Jacoby actually coming through and upsetting that one and winning the gold. I mean, it's just been so fantastic to watch these games and watching them all over the place. So we were out to dinner last night, watching them on our cell phones. We're watching them in the restaurant. They had it up. So we're not missing a beat. We're taking it all in. I love it.
I loved that Lydia Jacoby moment as well, Liz. This Alaskan swimmer, you don't think of Alaska necessarily as being this hotbed for training Olympians, but I saw this great side-by-side video of her family and her friends watching back in Alaska, just going crazy because she was an underdog really in the race.
Yeah.
And another little tidbit I loved is that she was wearing the same pink goggles that she wore as a kid to train, and won her gold medal wearing those same pink goggles, which I just thought was just such a cute touch.
I love
cute.
it.
Yeah. Kwam, are you watching any of the Olympics?
I've been watching some basketball, but not too many highlights on the American front. Hopefully we can get it together. But I am happy for some of the other countries. I'm a big fan of Luka Doncic, and seeing him drop 48 points was just incredible. I think it's really, putting his stamp on the basketball world. But hopefully, USA basketball can get it together in the short amount of time so we can go for gold.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say. Oh,
go ahead, Audrey. No, you go.
I'm just really excited about. So Peacock has Olympic highlights with Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg. And it is so funny, guys. If you're not watching it, you need to be watching it. They break down, obviously, each different, sport, and they have their own, comedic take on it, as Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg would. And they interview some people, and it's just so funny. They broke down the opening ceremonies, and I was laughing out loud multiple times, which it takes a lot to get me, and it did. So I think it's just a really interesting take, on the comedy side of the Olympics, and they're not being so super mean about it. It's all in good fun, but it's snarky, and I'm here for it. So big plug for Olympic highlights. It's really funny.
Well, the other night I had said I went to the Olympics hub on X1, which you can find by saying Olympics into your voice remote. And it's great because at the top you can see everything that's live right now, all across all the channels. And since it's in Tokyo, there's just sports at all times of the day. So I was just going across and finding the most random thing I wouldn't typically watch. And I watched a table tennis match and was so intrigued by the various rituals they have before serving. This guy from Peru had his paddle, and he was taking the ball, and he'd sit it on the paddle and let it roll off, and sit it on the paddle and let it roll off, sit it on the paddle and let it roll off before every single serve. Just doop, doop, doop. And then they serve and they turn their body so you can't see which way they're doing it. I just don't even know how someone hits a ping pong ball like that. But also the match moves, there's never more than like 5 or 6 volleys back and forth. And it happens so quickly, you can't even barely watch it. You're like, I don't know if this is a good match. Is it a bad match? Like, it's just so fast.
Well, I love
like,
you saying that. We're watching every sport and every time synchronized diving. So we're watching and all of us here are like, oh my gosh, that was so good. Did you see that? And then all of a sudden the commentators are like, oh, yeah. You can tell in their face. They really didn't hit that the way that they should. Look at that angle. And then they start breaking it down. And I swear, it's like, it's so minute that we don't see it, that, you know, they're calling all of this. And we're like, I thought that was fantastic. Obviously, we're not. Yeah. We're not judging the Olympics, but I'm here for all of it. I love it all.
It's similar to my husband and I were watching last night, and I've seen this idea floating around the internet as well. Like, do you guys remember during Shark Week when Michael Phelps raced the shark and it was like, you know, not real, but he raced a shark? So my husband will be watching these Olympic events and he's like, I could do that better. Like, that guy stinks. Like, I could do that. And I think they should like put a normal person like in the last row of like a last lane of like the pool, or the last like lane of like running, and have like some like average Joe who thinks he's athletic do the same thing, so we can actually see how phenomenally talented these people are. Because it's so easy to watch and be like, how hard is that? But like, it's insane. So that's my new petition for like a TV show. Have like average Joe does the Olympics and just put them in there and see what it's really like.
Speaking of, I think the Jonas Brothers already did that.
Yeah.
It's crazy if you haven't seen that.
And Nick broke a rib, right?
Yeah. It was pretty funny. If you love the Jonas Brothers like that.
Womp womp.
I know. If you love the Jonas.
Poor Nick.
Yeah. Well, the Tokyo Olympics continue through August 8th, so don't miss a minute of this year's games with live coverage, full event replays, highlights, and more. Just say Olympics into your voice remote. Let us see what everyone else is talking about in a segment called Trending on Xfinity. Critics are raving about Hulu's brand new 6-part music docu-series entitled McCartney 321. Here to tell us more about this revelatory show is our very own Audrey. Take it away, Audrey.
So David mentioned, I recently watched all of this series. It is 6-part docu-series where producer Rick Rubin interviews everyone's favorite Beatle, Paul McCartney, about his work with the Beatles. The two sit down and talk about Paul's unique approach to musical composition. He pays tribute to some of the artists that influenced the Beatles, and he talks about his development as a solo artist and with Wings. The unique series was shot over 2 days near McCartney's Hamptons home because he had some downtime during the pandemic. They captured over 15 hours of footage, and the two really just chatted about whatever they wanted to talk about. I think that I liked about it most is that there really wasn't much structure. It really was just like a music icon and a music fan just fanning out over the Beatles. And it was really, really neat that Rubin would change, like he would pull down a button or a lever and drown out all of the instruments except the bass. And then he would like zone in on the bass and say what are you doing there? Or like he would put up the drums, and you would just hear songs that you've heard a million times in a different way. And it was just super interesting to me. You can tell he's obviously a huge fan of music and just the Beatles in general. So I thought it was interesting. And as you're seeing in these pictures, it's beautiful. It's all black and white. And it's just very like unique and creative. And who doesn't love Paul McCartney? He's just such a gem and a pleasure to watch on TV. So big fan. But after watching this, it started leading me to think about how much I love the Beatles and why. And I really narrowed it down to like nostalgia and like rituals. And when I was a kid, growing up, every weekend we would clean the house listening to the Beatles. And on our local radio station, like 102.9 MGK, they would play Breakfast with the Beatles. So we would clean the house and then have lunch and just listen to all these Beatles songs. And it's really like shaped my love of the Beatles. So that's really where it came from, I think. So I was wondering if anyone else wanted to share their kind of music rituals with us.
Yeah, Audrey, definitely.
Yeah.
I think music rituals, really play a big part within, people's lives and how you associate with music. For me, when I was younger, my family during Christmas, when we would opening gifts, we'll play like Motown covers of Christmas songs. So that's like, The Temptations, Silent Night, the Jackson 5, Give a Little Love at Christmas. And it really just made me love the whole experience that much more. And that's like some of my fondest memories. Like I remember my dad who recorded everything on an old, tape recorder or, video recorder. And he would play the songs on like a record, like an old record player, and to give it like even more like nostalgic feeling. And it's just like warms my heart just every time I think about it. And it's definitely something that shaped my own, life and just my memories. So yeah, music rituals definitely play a big role. Liz, how about you?
Oh, Kwam, I can't agree more. I think the holidays are so important around here as well for us. But not only is it just like the music, but also the food and everything that brings it together. So I can't think about music without like food for us, because every time we dance, there's food involved. So we're in the kitchen and we're always dancing, my kids and I, while I'm cooking, or they're just in the kitchen and we're hanging out. But similar to Audrey, man, just growing up and thinking about all of the music that I was exposed to, one that really stands out for me is just all of the old salsa music, right? We're talking about like the Hector Lavoe, the Oscar de Leon, a bunch of people that you may not necessarily know, but they all played such an important part in what is salsa music today. It originated in New York, which is really cool. But I mean, like just salsa music in general for us. And I still do it with my daughters. Like they can sing old salsa music that is like way before my time. It's now way before their time. And it helps us to keep the culture alive. So I love it. I love the way that old salsa music just makes me feel, for sure.
And for me, I have a particular affinity for big band music. If you're not familiar with big band music, it's this type of jazz or swing music that was popular in the early 1900s, like 1910 to 1940. And was typically played by bands consisting of 10 or more musicians, 4 different parts. My grandfather and my grandparents loved big band music and used to play their own big band mixtapes during road trips. My grandfather had hand-labeled cassette tapes that he kept in the center console, bound by rubber bands, and he would pull out the bundle and hand them to me to pick one of the tapes out. And he'd pop them in while we drove down I-95 every summer. And I was just recently talking to him about this, and the Glenn Miller Orchestra was his absolute favorite, famous for a little song called Moonlight Serenade, which you will 100% recognize as having heard a million times and not even realize it. But he was telling me that when he was a kid, his parents moved him to a new bedroom on the 3rd floor of their big house. And he wanted to listen to big band music on the radio and would turn it on just lightly so that his mom wouldn't hear. But no matter how low he put it on, she would yell up the stairs for him to turn off the music and go to sleep. So I just love that. It's just something that's been kind of passed down in my family to the point where now when I go and walk my dog at night, because it's a little too hot for him during the day, I put on big band music playlist on Apple Music, because that's actually a thing, and listen to it as we walk. And it's just like a really calming thing for me to just unwind at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
I love all of that. Wait, do you remember when like swing music made a comeback for a hot minute with like Zoot Suit Riot and like all of that stuff?
Yes.
Anything, I swear, just like a band behind a singer is just amazing. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say the name of the one band, but did not know when I was a kid just like how kind of vulgar the name of the one band was. I'll message it to you after this.
Oh, okay.
The Cherry Something Daddies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know that.
No, I do not.
No, that's right. You're not missing anything. Audrey, you know what what this docu-series reminds me of is the NBC show Songland. And I don't know if any of you have
show.
watched. I do love Songland. And it's interesting for the same reason, where they have these 4 producers and this young singer-songwriter comes out and sings a song, and the 4 producers sit there and in real time make it better. Are just like, like, what if we just did a little beep bap 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 right there, and like just give me a little more bass, or like just tweak these drums, or what if instead of like going here you went da, 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 and you're like, oh my god, it's just like now it's a hit, and they just did things that you would never even think of.
It's a different language. Like there's parts in the documentary where Paul is like, oh, at this point on Eleanor Rigby, I wanted like, do you hear that? And he would point out notes and he's like, and I wanted it to sound like exactly what you just did. He's like, bam, 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 bam. And he just can envision it in his mind. And then he just like got everyone together and said, you do this, you do this, you do this. Like got a piccolo from like some orchestra and like made it work. And it really is just like speaking another language that I do not speak, but I like to listen to. But it's really amazing to watch for sure.
So
I think when you watch shows like this, yes, I was going to say, when you watch shows and documentaries like that, it really makes you understand how, musically gifted some of these people are. They're like they're geniuses in their own crafts. And, you guys hit it on the nail on the head. It's like another language and they're the only ones who can speak it.
Mm-hmm. Well, check out that language of music. More music videos, music documentaries, and more by saying, guess what? Music into your voice remote. So let us move on now to a segment we call Editor's Picks. This summer's TV lineup includes spicy reality series like Love is Blind After the Altar, Love Island UK, Love Island US, Sexy Beasts, and more scandalous shows for that passionate Leo in your life. Oh, you didn't know we could recommend TV shows based on your Zodiac sign? Well, Audrey did it with an aptly named collection called TV Horoscopes. Audrey, again, you're kicking us off. Tell us more about it.
Man, if people weren't sick of me, you're about to be. Because, yes, like David said, TV Horoscopes is a collection that I made that features every zodiac sign. So if you don't know it, the dates are there for you to find out what you are. And you click into it. And what I've done is taken a characteristic from your sign. So whether it's independent or curious or diplomatic, and kind of picked out the top shows that I think would go along with that. So in each kind of horoscope or zodiac sign, you'll see those. You'll see celebrities that share your signs. You'll see whether it's a fire sign or an air sign, like water shows. You'll see things like that. And then obviously a row just for the occult in general, if you're into this kind of thing like I am. So we thought it'd be fun to look at all of our signs and see if the shows that are in there match up with our personality and our TV watching, or if there's another sign that would be more aptly fit for us. Because really, there's everything in there for everybody. And I am a Gemini. I don't always identify as a Gemini. So I thought it'd be fun to see where everyone else falls. So let's take a look, I think first at David's Aquarius.
I am an Aquarius.
So yeah, how do you feel? Tell me, are you a solo guy?
You know this about me. It's, as you mentioned, this section features a row called Solo TV for the independent Aquarius, and boy, does that fit my personality. I love to travel solo. I love doing things alone. I don't mind eating alone. So like shows like Stanley Tucci Searching for Italy, Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown, and Man vs. Wild are right up my alley. If there was a show called Watching TV Alone with My Dog, I would add it to that collection and I would watch that too, because that fits me as well. I don't mind seeing movies alone, don't mind going to restaurants, don't mind traveling. So it does fit me. I think I also align with the artistic shows in the Taurus collection a little bit, and also the musical shows in the Pisces collection. But I really do think you nailed it, Audrey.
All right. 1 point.
Yeah. Liz, what are you? What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Libra. And so I think Audrey hit it on the head here with TV for the diplomat. I do feel like I can be diplomatic and making sure that I understand and try to make everyone feel welcome and comfortable, and making sure that I hear both sides of the story and really getting everyone's voices heard. What I will not necessarily disagree with, I mean, these are all great shows and they're wonderful talk shows. I think, like you, David, lean more towards the creative and the artistic side. And those are the two that I really had down too, were the Taurus and Pisces on the musical side. I love all those things creative, like the creative competition shows, like, Full Bloom and The Voice and all of those artistic shows. But yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, this did nail me. This nailed it right in the head for me.
And
it's so funny. Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, am I up next?
Oh no, Quam's next. I believe.
Okay.
Oh,
because I was gonna agree.
Audrey,
I am
you go
next. All right.
Yeah.
So I mentioned I'm a Gemini, and my row is educational TV for the curious Gemini. And while I am curious, like most of the stuff is kind of boring to me. Like this is the stuff that my husband likes to watch. And I'm like, can we just put Project Runway on? Or like now Making the Cut, which is
Yes.
Heidi and Tim's new show. So same thing, like Taurus is really the one that speaks to me the most with Making It. Like I love Making It. Anything where people use like a skill in their creativity to then make a product, I find to be like super interesting. But I mean, space and science are great too. But yeah, I'm definitely lining up with the Taurus, which I think I was meant to be a Taurus because I was born 3 weeks late and I'm like early in the Gemini side. So I think that's what's happening for me, is that I was really a Taurus, but just didn't work out for me.
Perfect. Well, Quam, you want to bring us home?
Of course, because it's Leo season, so it only is right that the Leo ends it all. And Audrey, I think this is correct. The music for the fiery, spicy Leo. The one thing about Leos, we're like super dramatic, and my girlfriend will tell you that I am like the most dramatic person she knows, and all these shows are pretty dramatic. So I think that really fits with our sign of being Leos. But I think, everyone's a little bit of a creative. So, with that, with the Taurus and the Pisces, I think that's kind of, everyone could fit in that category because everyone, I think a lot of people have a creative side to them. So I think that could explain why everyone feels that they fit in that category as well.
Yeah, I actually wrote down some of like the strengths and weaknesses and likes and dislikes of our signs collectively.
Oh.
Strengths are being creative and passionate and generous and warm-hearted. This is really actually funny, so I'm going to read it. Your likes are theater, taking holidays, being admired, expensive things, bright colors, and fun with friends.
That sounds just
this?
Like me.
Is that Leo?
Oh,
really? To be a Leo. Just read me.
And wait, it gets better. Your dislikes, being ignored, facing difficult realities, and not being treated like a king.
That is me to a T.
Right.
I really hate being ignored. I really hate it. That's like my biggest pet peeve. When I'm talking to someone, they're like 1 minute, and I'm like, what do you mean 1 minute? What more can be important than me right now? So you hit the nail on the head.
Wow.
Right.
Well, you can check out the shows that align with your zodiac sign by saying TV horoscopes into your voice remote. The collection will not ignore you, so you will not be like Quam and told to wait 1 minute. Now it's time to grab some snacks and your favorite spot on the couch for Xfinity Hangouts. Everyone is buzzing about the brand new Star Series Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and Quam is here to tell you about this latest installment in the wildly popular Power franchise. Quam?
Yes, thank you, David. Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, is the third series in the Power universe and is a prequel set in the 90s that will chronicle the early years of Kanan Stark, the character that was played originally by 50 Cent in the earlier series. Inspired by his drug-dealing mom, Kanan wants to be just like her. He's young, wide-eyed, and ambitious, but he doesn't know the hustle just yet. I had this chance to sit down with Mekai Curtis, who plays the young Kanan. Let's see what he had to say. One thing that stood out to me about Kanan, your character, is that how he's different from the portrayal that we've seen in the earlier series, but later in the timeline.
Yeah, but later in the
you feel me? But yeah, he's not as street smart. You know, you see him; he makes mistakes. He does things that we're not, accustomed to seeing Kanan the adult doing. So, what else can we expect to see from Kanan as an adolescent? How does he differ from Kanan that we see in the first book?
I mean, well, damn, you hit it on the head, Kwame. Honestly, bro, like it's with this story and where we find Kanan when we pick up with him. You're gonna find a young kid, literally a kid who doesn't know anything. He has the natural instinct and the raw, grit to do it. But like you said, he's not street smart. He doesn't have the wisdom to notice and to gauge before he acts. A lot of what he does is based strictly off emotion. Which is, it's one of the beautiful detriments of him. It's like everything he does, it's revolved around trying to protect his mother and his family. That's his driving goal. That's his end all be all. And ultimately that's everybody's goal in the show. I feel like is trying to protect one another, trying to protect this family dynamic that's happening. Whether it be Lulu, Marvin, whether it be Rock, Jukebox, Kanan, whatever. They all have these, they all want to protect each other, but they all have different ways and means of trying to do so.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. I had to put grills on. I'm loving
you won't be ignored now. You won't be ignored now.
I better not be. Not with these teeth. How could you ignore me? Because the show
you're
is
still
so
in the
gritty
color
and so
palette
raw.
too.
Yeah,
I know. Everything's just coming together so perfectly. Because this show is set in the 90s, and I just love the 90s because it has all the best stuff, such as grills. So I thought it would be pretty dope to talk about what we love about the 90s. So, David, what do you love most about the 90s?
Well, as a kid, I loved a fanny pack. And man, what I love for them. There I am.
Yes.
That's my sister back there wearing yellow to match us today. So I remembered I loved a fanny pack, and this red one is something I wore everywhere. I remember coming to Philadelphia on a 6th grade field trip to see the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall, and I was wearing my favorite shorts and my favorite shirt and my sunglasses and my red fanny pack. I thought I was the coolest person in the whole world. And I remember standing in front of Independence Hall, and all the girls were using the reflection of my sunglasses to check out their hair. And I was like, everything is going so right for me in this moment. And then a bird pooped on my head as I was standing there, and all the girls screamed and ran away. And I was left there just with poop in my hair. But it was tragic. I tell my therapist about this all the time. But I used this fanny pack on many vacations with my family. This is a vacation picture here. I had a green Velcro wallet that had a brontosaurus on it and actually said brontosaurus. I kept that in the fanny pack. I'd pick up all kinds of crap and put it in there on vacations, like sugar packets, vacation pamphlets, coupons, anything I found interesting. I was basically like one of those mice that collect junk for their burrow. And that's what I did. And it all went in that fanny pack. And now Kwame, you're always sporting, don't you sport a fanny pack? They're back now.
Yeah, they are. I love fanny packs because you can fit so much stuff that you couldn't fit in your pocket in them. So they're pretty clutch. Also, I'm taking these out because I can't talk right now.
While you do that, I'll say Scott also loves a fanny pack. So
he
a
really
lot of
does.
this team is pro fanny pack.
Yeah,
because it's it used to be cool because you could wear cargo. Well, I don't know that cargo shorts were ever cool, but they were in, and it was great because you had more pockets for all your stuff. And now they're not cool anymore, so you just have to put it in the 4 pockets that typically exist, like some sort of jerk. I want more pockets.
Right, or you could just stop collecting
this
stuff.
Way.
That's
Grandma.
true. Yeah. Where am I going to put my Werther's originals? Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need? This all fits in my fanny pack.
That's actually me though. I pull out everything. I pull out a brush, rubber bands, gum,
my snacks.
chips. Yep.
Well, I mean, Scott I'm not like Scott's not here to defend himself, but Scott keeps like his moisturizer, like he has like a whole like line of beauty products to keep him looking like Scott. But he needs those he doesn't need them. Oh God, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna be in so much trouble now when he finds out I was talking about him. Audrey, what is your favorite 90s trend?
So this is not a picture of me, unfortunately, because I couldn't find one. But I love Jenko jeans. Like, the bigger the wide leg, the better. Like, I'm talking, they would drag on the floor and they were tattered and there were just strings hanging and they'd get sopping wet. And it just made me love them even more. I don't know what it is. I just loved baggy clothes as a kid, and I guess I still do. But I would wear Jenkos that were like 3 sizes too big, and then an extra large, like an adult's extra large t-shirt that had like the short sleeves were like down to here, it's to my forearm, like a regular shirt. Yeah, so I guess oversized clothes in general, but specifically Jenkos, because I've mentioned before, I did hang out with like the skater crowd, and it was very cool in the 90s with my Airwalks. But I don't know, man. I love them. And in researching this topic, I have been tempted to repurchase them. They are still sold on Jenko.com. They are still very appealing to me. And if we ever go back to the office and if I see any of you in person, you may see me wearing Jenkos. So get ready. With a chain wallet. I love chain wallets too.
Yeah,
God, guys, the 90s were just really my jam. And I could just go on forever. And like a ball chain choker, like the silver beads.
Yes.
Like, God. Loved all of it. Still love it. 20 some years later.
You were a character straight out of Daria, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Well, the thing I remember about those jeans, like I remember specifically the kids I went to high school with who loved Jenko jeans, and they always started, they were big, but then like the more they wore them, it started tattering at the bottom more and more to the point where you're just dragging strings of denim behind you as you walked through the snow. And then like they would come in all wet, soaked halfway up the leg, especially if it was snowing. And then it would leave one of those like salt stains wavy across the leg from sucking up the salty snow.
Yes.
Yeah. How was that ever a thing? I just don't understand.
I don't know. Audrey's like, yes, I loved that. I loved all of it.
I did. You would have to give them like a little trim. Like you'd have to go around the back and cut those little strings off. But those with my turquoise and purple Airwalks that I purchased multiple times, or Adidas shell tops, just like the black and white ones. But I would take sparkled nail polish in like different colors and paint the black stripes with sparkle nail polish so that they were like different and like funky. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, guys. You wish you knew me then. I know.
Well, I mean, it's been a long running joke among our team that we have to eventually see a photo of you in this phase of your life, and you keep finding new excuses to not show us this photo. They exist somewhere.
I really wish I could have found it.
I know. Just pretend that's me with that body. That's totally me, guys.
We'll just Photoshop her head onto that girl.
Yeah.
Liz, your 90s trend you want to maybe bring back or maybe leave in the 90s?
I think I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it there for sure. And in the 90s, I think that makeup wasn't as cool as it is today. At least it wasn't as artistic as it was or is today, right? You've got 12-year-olds who would like have tutorials on how to put on makeup. Unfortunately for me, I was well into my teenage years in the 90s, and this is a picture of me and my very best friend, who's still my best friend today, wearing frosted brown lipstick with a very dark brown liner as well. Unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, match the brown circles under my eyes, because apparently concealer wasn't a thing, right? Like, just put on lipstick. I remember putting nothing else on my face, literally nothing. I would tease my hair, not in this picture, but when I was a little younger, I would tease my hair to the heavens with lots of hairspray, and then just put on lipstick. And then when this frosted stuff came out, like I just couldn't get enough of it. Can we also talk about the fact that I'm twinning with my best friend? I'm 20 years old in this picture. Like I'm old enough to know better. We're twinning. We're at work. Yes, we worked at the same place and we were twinning. We both had very long, slim skirts on with a tight ribbed shirt and our brown frosted lipstick. We're keeping that back there. I mean, I'll take that body back, but we could leave the frosted lipstick back in the 90s.
I would like to say, I think you look adorable there. So maybe you should bring it back. And second, I would like to know, was this brown frosted lipstick made by Wet n Wild? Because I feel like that's the only people who made makeup in the 90s.
I was going to ask the same thing.
Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it got really fancy. I think a little bit later in the either late 90s or early 2000s, and you'll have to fact check me on this, but when Mac started becoming a really big deal, I mean, I was throwing down money for frosted lipsticks at Mac as well. Brown, very brown lipstick at Mac.
David, I love that you were going to reference Wet n Wild.
I love it.
One of the few brands that I know was Wet Seal a brand of makeup, or was that?
No, that's
Wet
a
Seal's
store.
a store.
Oh, that's a store. Okay.
Yes.
Wet n Wild, like Claire's Boutique. Like I know like very specific because I had sisters, so I know some of this.
Yeah.
Do you know the Delia's catalog? Because that was also 90s, and that was my jam.
I just know they had didn't they have the flowers, the flower logo? Yeah,
it did.
I had sisters, so I know all this.
So proud.
I love it.
Quam, you were barely alive in the 90s. So what was your 90s trend?
Yes, all y'all like referencing all of these brands and stuff in the 90s. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? But in the 90s, well, I know. I'm the youngest.
He was on Similac.
I know, right?
That's the brand he knew.
That was the brand I knew. And
so
I knew about windbreakers because windbreakers are always fly. And they definitely should make a comeback. Windbreaker tracksuits should never went out of style because they are so lit. Look at me. I'm so stylish, even in the 90s. And
oh my God.
I make
so
Kurt
cute.
me so proud. I know. Aren't I adorable? This is the Leo of me coming out right now, guys. Just talk about me. But
the best thing about a tracksuit, man, that swooshy noise when you walked.
That swooshy noise. I think it's like iconic, but also I would actually not want that because that is pretty annoying. You can hear the guy coming up the street with that noise.
The thing
but it was cool.
Yeah, but I mean, was it the swishy noise? That's pretty obnoxious, but that's aesthetic.
But everyone had it, so it wasn't obnoxious. It was at the time it was the thing.
And the thing is about this, Quam, is you could wear this exact tracksuit now today and 100% pull it off. Like you could rewear this now and you would look fantastic, which I can't say, at least for myself, I'd look like such a dope, but you would pull it off.
No, Dave, I think you would look just as dope.
They probably sell that at Urban Outfitters right now.
I'm sure.
They actually don't, because I was actually looking for a tracksuit because this actually inspired me to bring it back, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, oh, I guess it's actually dead. But definitely bring back tracksuits. Thank goodness.
What is the hat do you know anything about the hat you're wearing in that photo?
I actually don't. Knowing if it's like my brothers, if my brothers dressed me, it was probably a Chicago's Bulls hat, but because they love the Bulls, they love Michael Jordan. I still have Michael Jordan posters just from them because he was the 90s, in regards to sports. So it might have been a Bulls hat, but I could be wrong.
That's awesome.
And Jordan knew how to wear a tracksuit too. I mean, that's it.
Yep.
That's I'm just yep. Sure did. Added a whole bunch. I added a whole bunch there. So you can watch Power Book 3 Raising Kanan, or Raising Kanan. I keep saying, Quam, what is it? Kanan or Kanan?
It's Kanan. You were right the first time, but I
had
like
it.
Kanan too.
Yeah, Power Book 3 Raising Kanan every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Stars, or catch up on the first 2 episodes right now on demand. And check out Quam's full interview with the cast later this week by saying what to watch into your voice remote. And before we head out for the week, as always, we're here to help you plan ahead. This week's premieres include A Pursuit of Love, Blind Love, and F-Boy Love. Audrey is here with this week's Best New Series. Audrey?
Netflix is finally giving the people what they want. An update on the couples from their hit reality show, Love is Blind. Love is Blind After the Altar reunites cast members from the show's first season, which aired all the way back in the spring of 2020. Love is Blind After the Altar premieres Wednesday, July 28th on Netflix. The iconic VH1 series that took viewers behind the scenes of the music world is making a comeback on Paramount+. The trailer for the revival of Behind the Music boasts big names like J-Lo, Ricky Martin, LL Cool J, Huey Lewis, and more, talking about their biggest secrets and setbacks. Behind the Music premieres Thursday, July 29th on Paramount+. Dr. Death, The Undoctored Story, is the companion docuseries to Peacock's hit drama Dr. Death. This 4-part docuseries reveals the real story of Dr. Christopher Duntsch, as told by the people who survived it. Duntsch is a now famous neurosurgeon who is sentenced to life in prison after harming or killing 33 patients who came in for routine surgeries. Dr. Death, The Undoctored Story, premieres Thursday, July 29th on Peacock. Do nice guys always finish last? F-Boy Island aims to answer that very question. Comedian Nikki Glazer hosts as 3 women move to a tropical island where they're joined by 24 men. 12 self-proclaimed nice guys looking for love, and 12 self-proclaimed F-boys there to compete for cold hard cash. Who will come out on top? Only time, alcohol, and bad puns will tell. F-Boy Island premieres Thursday, July 29th on HBO Max. Looking to fill the Bridgerton-shaped hole in your heart? Based on the best-selling novel of the same name, The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford, this TV adaptation is already getting rave reviews from critics. Set in Europe before World War II, the story follows the adventures of the charismatic and fearless Linda Radlett and her cousin Fanny Logan. The dramedy is all about growing up and falling in love amongst the privileged and eccentric. The Pursuit of Love premieres Friday, July 30th on Amazon Prime Video.
I am so excited for F-Boy Island. How ridiculous is that show? I just can't wait.
Same.
When I was recording my voiceover, I was like, can I say F-Boy? Like, I just felt so weird.
What are you talking about, Audrey? You did that read live.
Yes. When I just read that live 2 seconds ago, I said, can I say this? But I'm so excited for all of those shows. Like, they're all amazing looking, and it's so much TV to watch.
Yeah, good stuff this week. And lastly, before we head out, Quam will take us home with TV season finales, the final episodes, the finales, and here they are.
The second season of the Bravo series, Family Karma, is coming to a close. This reality show chronicles the lives of several Indian families over 3 generations. Growing up in traditional multi-generational households, the group is bonded by their strong cultural ties and vibrant Miami social lives. While their parents and grandparents instill cherished customs, these adult children are drifting more and more towards the American way, and the 2 worlds collide in the most unexpected ways. Family Karma will finale on Wednesday, July 28th on Bravo. The dark comedy drama Why Women Kill will stream its final episode of the season on Friday, July 29th. Set in multiple time periods, the show follows 3 women in different decades living in the same house as they deal with infidelity and betrayals in their marriage. Full of plot twists, secrets, and drama, you're not going to want to miss the finale of this killer show. Why Women Kill finales on Thursday, July 29th on Paramount+. High School Musical, the series, will be coming to a close on July 30th. Serving as a spin-off to the extremely popular Disney movie of the same name, this series follows members of the drama club and their faculty advisors as they work their way toward the opening night of the musicals that they produce. New romances blossom, old friendships are tested to their limits while new ones are formed, rivalries flare, and lives are changed forever as these students discover the transformative power that only high school theater can provide. The season finale will stream on Disney Plus on Friday, July 30th. The season finale of the hit Showtime series, The Chi, will be airing on August 1st. Set in the south side of Chicago, The Chi chronicles the lives of a group of residents who are linked by coincidence. Weaving together multiple storylines, this coming-of-age drama depicts life in the south side, as each decision has life or death consequences. The season 4 finale of The Chi will air on Sunday, August 1st on Showtime. Also on August 1st, War of the Worlds will be having its season 2 finale. A retelling of the classic H.G. Wells novel, this sci-fi drama is set in contemporary Britain and France as aliens have taken over the world. Human existence is all but wiped out, with only small pockets of humanity trying to survive. Will mankind find a way to defeat the alien invaders, or will we be destroyed? Catch the finale of War of the Worlds on Sunday, August 1st on Epix.
All right. Well, that will do it for this week's episode. Special thanks to Power Book 3-star Mekai Curtis for hanging out with us, and even bigger thanks to my fellow editors Liz, Quam, and Audrey for joining me today. Next week, we will have a very special guest, the star of Netflix's new show, Cooking with Paris. Yes, that Paris. Paris Hilton will be here. So excited for that. And if you want to check out the shows we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote, or tune in here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. for a new episode. My name is David. Thank you for joining us on What to Watch Live.